so much, Dr. Lenaturo. Thank you, Kipla and the Legacy Sound team for also welcoming us back in to the session here. Of course, the reason that we had that particular song, again, it is not out of bias because the MC is called Mark Masai, but it is one of the sub-themes that we are here to acknowledge and appreciate, rangelands, pastoralism, and biodiversity. Please refer to your program, just so that you don't accuse me of any bias. But we're here to celebrate all of us here, all the farmers, and all our delegates who are represented from different counties and different countries as well. We'd like to say, Asheo Ling, Asante Sana, thank you very much.
First one. And really appreciating the ministry, Pelham Kenya, and all organizers also under the ISFA umbrella, because I think we've really, continued with the momentum, even in the context of the National Agroecology Strategy. And the main reason why GIZ continues to partner is because we believe this platform, this dialogue, this exchange is crucial to continue shaping the strategic direction and our actions as pertains agroecology. I will keep my remarks very short so that we also have ample time from everybody else. In my interactions around the agroecology space, because we also support other initiatives and other policy goals, I think a lot of times we are always finding a bit of differentiations and distinctions around practices. But I think what we should really talk about agroecology to the core is its uniqueness, in terms of what do we really want to see. I think having defined a vision and put it in a policy framework or a strategy, and this framework really signifies and recognizes that we want to advance and champion agroecology. At the core of it is not the practices, because practices can be, done in fragmentation, in separations, in disconnection. I think we really, and it's been alluded to here in the One Health conversation, that we really should be looking at the redesign to look that we are looking at what the ecological functioning and our interactions with them, where we are really going wrong, so that we are not giving or getting the desired outcome. So redesigns at our farm level, redesigns in our agro ecosystems, redesigns coming into the market systems, redesigns in our institutions, and how we consistently continue to scale that and to integrate that within our social and economic systems. I think we need to continue differentiating that, and I think we will really continue this advancement of agroecology. So for me to wind up, I think also preempting that we have a governance session that will come, I would like to invite you to a side session tomorrow afternoon, because I think governance is what makes things work. Quality governance and coordination is what makes things work, and we'll be having that conversation tomorrow on how we are designing this coordination. How should we continue to foster this shift within our social and economic systems and institutions? I really wish you fruitful discussions, deliberations, and most importantly, let's come up with actionable items that we follow through in the conversation of agroecology to take us through the year to the next convening. Thank you, and God bless.
Asante, you can place that on the podium. Let's appreciate Bwana Jeffrey Ngare, representing Dr. Sophia Bomet from the GIZ Kenya, and make sure you follow through. You can place it on the podium. Just follow through with their session in terms of the side event that they will be having tomorrow, and also the governance session that they will be talking about. Indeed, governance, very important for the
agroecology. This agroecology subject came in. He looked at me the way elders look at you when they are being polite about a foolish question. We seek are not really waiting to be imported. They already exist within the communities. Our responsibility is to recognize them, strengthen them, invest in them, and create policies that allow them to flourish. Agroecology is a bridge between scientific rigor and community wisdom. So the two have to go together. As we normally say in Kenya, umoja ni nguvu na utengano ni udhaifu. That means unity is strength and division is weakness. So science must work with the community wisdom. They are not rivals. They are co-authors. So the theme, then healthy ecosystems conserve water, biodiversity, healthy livestock strengthen livelihoods, healthy communities build resilient nations. So human health, animal health, and environmental health are all in the same WhatsApp group. If one member leaves, the chat collapses. Okay, if one member leaves, the chat collapses. So if you allow me, I have maybe 2 more minutes. Our data across 15 countries, that's from the SuperSec Alliance, shows that diversified agroecological approaches reduce severe food insecurity by over 20%. Not a fluke. So therefore, agroecology is not a fluke, but it's a shield that we need to embrace further. I'll move on very fast. I think I will move on very fast now here. And I want to address the policy maker, Honorable Cabinet Secretary. Transformation happens when governments invest in extension services that promote agroecological practices. When researchers work alongside farmers to co-create solutions. When financial institutions invest in local innovation. When women and youth are recognized not as beneficiaries, but as leaders. And when development partners listen before they prescribe. Hunger, as we know, is largely man-made. And because it's man-made, it can be man-remedied. Let us find implementation with same energy we used to launch the strategy. Let us break down the silos, I think this has been mentioned already, between livestock, agronomy, health, and policy. Let us ensure that science and community wisdom sit at the same table and that our farmers lead from the table, not wait outside it. So across our programs, we have learned that nobody can do it alone. It requires that we have genuine partnership, which is built on trust, and evidence is very important. That's also why we have, and evidence is very important. That's also why we have the scientists here and the researchers. And there must be deep respect and appreciation for community knowledge. This is the third symposium. May it be remembered not simply for the conversations that we have or we shall have, but for the commitments we make and the actions that will follow those commitments. So when we come back for the fourth symposium, we should actually come up and say this is what we have done based on what was based on this year's symposium. So again, as I conclude, the knowledge is already here. The partnerships are here. The opportunity is before us. On behalf of the SuperSec Alliance, I reaffirm our commitment to working alongside government.
Stand by for the same.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I know these speeches sometimes can kill us, so I'll try to keep it very brief. So, wish to congratulate Pelham Kenya and the ministries. Over the last few years, we have been working with intentions reflected in strategies, reflected in policies. And that is not to say intentions are bad. It's a good thing. You must have intentions. But we are starting to think that we need to get moving, at least an inch at a time. That would allow us to demonstrate that our intentions make sense to people's lives. Recently, I visited a farmer in Mauche in Nakuru County, who, when I counted the crops coming to an end of the football bonanza, apologies, we need systems that... So when we live here, we need to know that we have moved an inch through our intentions over the last couple of years. We now need to be very committed and keep on moving and also document these movements. And I would love that in the next symposium, we'd like to begin now to create a report which I would call the Status of Agroecology Report in Kenya. And I will be pleased to be part.
BioVision Africa Trust, our core private sector to achieve tangible impact across the 6 thematic priorities. For the interest of time, I'll not go to the details, but I'll just mention them in highlight that we are looking at livelihoods and climate resilience, research and knowledge dissemination, dynamic markets and trade, and with a strong focus to organic markets, enabling policy and then governance, and very importantly, partnerships. And I highlight this because we are keen to see how we can further collaborate and strengthen our partnerships so that jointly we can be able to be part of the solution. Through our farmer communication program and our program, the Knowledge Center for Organic Agriculture and the Ecological Organic Agriculture Initiative, which we host the Continental Secretariat, BVAT continue to bridge grassroots practice with high-level policy. As part of our commitment to actionable solutions, I would like to invite you all to our in our BVAT co-hosted BVAT side event, which will be there tomorrow in the afternoon. And we shall be looking at the important topic, looking at unlocking circular economy opportunities for agri-food systems, for agri-food SMEs in Kenya, policy insights and
in the world, we have more than 10,000 staff, and about 300 of our team members are part of this multifunctional landscape science program, which is an inheritor of the previous agroecology initiative that many of you have interacted with as well. So in that context, I'm very happy to be here. And let me start with my remarks. So first of all, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, Rosina. Thank you to Pelham and all organizing organizations. It's really fantastic that this is happening. And I am really pleased also to see so many stakeholders from all walks of life. If I think about how the symposium has changed and also how the East African Agroecology Conference has changed. So the symposium hosted by Pelham, East African Conference hosted by BVAT. So the symposium hosted by Pelham, East African Conference hosted by BVAT. We have really moved decisively towards looking at food systems, looking at the broader picture, looking really at systems dynamics that enable and contribute to the livelihoods and the ecosystems that we want to have. So I'm really, really pleased to see that. And Janet reminded us this morning that agroecology is about practices, about policy, and about people. So that also means that all of us have a role to play. And I think sometimes we get overwhelmed when we are faced with complex challenges. And of course, we are faced with enormous complex challenges. But the important part is that all of us have a contribution to make. So let's remind ourselves where our space is. Let's understand what we can contribute to the solution, and let's just move from there. Let's not be impressed by the challenges. Let's move together towards the solutions. Yes, then just briefly, yes. Yes, I wanted to briefly also say that I came with a number of colleagues from SIAT. Perhaps you can raise your hands, and including our team. Okay. Yes, higher, please. Thank you. Here are our SIAT colleagues. And then we have a whole group of youth. We have 20 youth who are contributing also to our side event that we have tomorrow on youth and agroecology. Please be coming. Very interesting session. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Lisa Fuchs and the team that's represented here. And now coming on stage is Ms. Tabara Ndiaye. Please accompany her with a round of applause from African Regional Funds Coordinator, Agroecology Fund. And she will then be followed by Ms. Betty Kibara from the Rockefeller Foundation.
Thank you, the presenter. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Pelham Kenya, for having us today. As said, I am Tabara Ndiaye. I'm here with my colleague Rutendo Shirape, representing the Agroecology Fund. The Agroecology Fund is a pooled fund. I think that you know it. We are a pooled fund of over 50 funders, philanthropies, corporations, individuals, and we are like mobilizing resources to support initiatives at all levels, and we are now funding in more than 100 countries in the world. And the idea is really to support agroecology movements everywhere. But also, we've started in 2012 by supporting collaboratives in several rising resources. And also, beyond the check, what we want to create is a learning community. And we create spaces for our partners to get together, learn from each other, but also support each other to grow. So that's why we are here. For us, it's very important that we are here. Our partners have their stands here just to visit them, but also wish ourselves also a very fruitful symposium and to encourage everyone to continue in this work. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Ms. Tabara Ndiaye, African Regional Funds Coordinator, Agroecology Fund. And I'd now like to call on Miss Betty Kibara, Director at the Rockefeller Foundation, who will then be followed by Engineer Laban Kiplagat, who will then call on our guest of honor for the opening remarks. Makofi kwake Betty akija.
All right. Good morning, everyone. All right, thank you. And I'm going to ride on the protocols that came before me. My name is Betty Kibara. I'm a director at the Rockefeller Foundation in charge of regenerative school meals. I also want to say that I'm a regenerative farmer, and I actually have a farm where I do fruit trees in Tharaka Nithi, and I think there was the Reverend was also from Tharaka Nithi, so there is something in Tharaka Nithi County. So I want to start sharing something from my growing up, which I call the farmer supermarket, which is one of the lessons I learned from my mother. And the topic of today is actually very, very dear to my heart because I have so many memories of growing up in the village. And my mother had what is called a farmer. As we had colorful maize, we also learned from an early age to separate our wastes, organic wastes. And we tended animals, we did intercropping. And I can tell you those lessons have really made my garden look like my mother's garden, which we grew up in the village. And I know that's what we are all calling agroecology. And I think it is a good thing that we are now beginning to look back to the days when all of us were growing up, and I think we had very, very many moving stories. So the Rockefeller Foundation will be very brief, Mark. We are a private foundation with a mission to promote the well-being of humanity, and we are working in Kenya in different countries. I will not be financed differently. We can do innovative financing for school and have a global movement around school feeding, and we can even have parental contribution. But one of the things I have not heard mentioned here is a cost of transitioning. We are talking about regenerative agriculture. What does it take to transition? And I want to give an example of Murang'a County where we've worked. Dalberg came up with a study that shows if you only convert a quarter of the land, which is about 55,000 hectares, you will need about $27 million. So just that is just one county. We have 47 counties. And so when the assessment was done, we need about $3.7 billion to transition the whole of this country to regenerative. So in a nutshell, what are we saying? That we also need to have conversion around financing. Finally, as we talk about the national strategy on agroecology, one of the things the Rockefeller Foundation is planning to do is to support the monitoring and evaluation and learning so that when we come back here next year, we're not going to be talking about stories, but we'll be showing how are we moving from point A to B. The last point is around Brazil. Should be producing with a strategy of hope of finding a market when there is just a school there. So I love African proverbs, and as I finish, I want to share with you one that as you move forward, be like a chameleon, with one eye looking behind on what we have learned, and with the other eye looking ahead. Thank you so much, and thanks for inviting us.
Asante sana, Betty Kibara, Director at the Rockefeller Foundation, and for the 3 M's, which I'm sure you're paying attention to: and I sat next to someone who's taking keynote for that. Now we're at the moment of the official opening. I'd like to call on Engineer Laban Kiplagat, the Agriculture Engineering Secretary from Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Tumpe Makofi Akija, and he will then call on the representative.
And I think we are here to make sure that Kenyan farmers become happy. Even if by not selling, what we usually say is that first of all, be self-sufficient. When you have got self-sufficiency in the household level, you'll be happy. And now the rest will follow. So as you have heard, my name is Engineer Laban Kiplagat. I'm the ministry. And I'm very happy today, guest of honor, that stock, we also have an equal number, and it's moving to the next other ministries. And that shows that actually this agroecology conversation is a paradigm shift that all of us are seeing as one day. It is even growing stronger. Last year we were about half of this, consistent on this particular journey. Why I'm saying like this is because when we realized as a government that there is a lot of potential and opportunity for bringing on board all our people, we did say, what shall be our nexus? What shall be our anchor? And we discussed with the guest of honor today here, and he was saying, what will be the quick win? Do we go the policy way? Do we go the strategy way? How do we? But because we knew what we wanted, we say, let us start with a strategy. And so we have our agroecology strategy, which we are very proud of. And more specifically, me, I'm very proud of because it touched me. Because when we formed a forum called ISFA, one of the agenda that we wanted to do was, how shall we institutionalize agroecology? It is there to prove that even what we thought was primitive is now becoming the answer to so many of our challenges that we do have. At ISFA, where we are happy that we are a forum. ISFA is not an NGO. ISFA is not a personal property. It is our forum that we say, how can we, focus ourselves so that we can be talking the same language. And it becomes kind of an association that tries to bring discipline among us. And I'm happy because when we raise this conversation, and I hope this thing is lying to me, the clock that is ahead of me. When we raise this myself, that I have steered ISFA, and ISFA has brought us that far, and organizations that are aligned to PELAM, among others, have also seen the need for us to work together. And I want to promise you that we are refining Kenya, who has taken us that far. And so, welcome, Bana Guest of Honor.
Thank you, engineer. Tumpatie makofi ingine bwana engineer. He keeps on saying he's retiring at the end of the year, and I keeps on telling him, I'm going home next week. Everybody coming here is saying good morning. Is it the trend or it is an afternoon? It is afternoon. So allow me to break that trend and say good afternoon. Before I read what is written in English, because that is meant for the people speaking English. Wakulima mko ndani? You heard that? I was telling director, do we have farmers inside here? Tuchanganye. Asanteni sana. Kabla sijasoma hii hotuba ambayo nimepewa imeandikwa kwa lugha ya Kizungu, mtaniruhusu niongee na wakulima kidogo. Yale ambayo tunasema katika washa hii ni muhimu sana, sivyo? Lakini ukweli ni kwamba tumeambiwa na Dr. Kirod, ambayo tunasema mengi sio mapya, sivyo? ni kizungu mingi, lakini ni ile ile. Yale mambo tunafanya kwa kawaida. Umuhimu ni kwamba tunaifanya kwa njia gani. Nina hakika usipochunga ukuje uambie watu kwamba nimekuja na mbinu mpya, utashangaa hiyo mbinu unasema ni mpya, ilitumika miaka kadhaa zilizopita, na wakulima wengi wanaitumia na wanazidi kupata mavuno. Kwa hivyo ile muhimu ni kwamba na ambaye amewekeza anatumaini kupata nini? Anatumaini kupata mazao ama matokeo. Sasa tunajiuliza shida iko wapi? Inabidi tugundue mahali ambapo kuna shida ili tuweze kuwasaidia wakulima waweze kuendesha kilimo hiki ambacho tunasema ndio kilimo kinastahili. Mambo ni mengi, lakini yale muhimu ni teknolojia ambayo tunajua tuko nayo. Manake teknolojia ikiwa peke yake bila rasilimali ya kuifanikisha haiwezekani. Inabidi tutafute vitu ambavyo vitaweza kufanya mkulima aweze kupata hiyo teknolojia kwa bei iliyo nafuu. Manake tunasema kwamba ukiwekeza lazima upate faida. Kama hakuna faida, kwa mara mingi unakuta kwamba hiyo kilimo kinafifia. Na ndio muhimu sasa, kwa sababu tuwawezeshe wakulima kupata njia wanaweza kupata rasilimali kwa bei ya nafuu, waweze kuwekeza. Hatusemi tupewe bure kama wakulima, ama wakulima mnataka ya bure. Tunataka finance ambayo is affordable. Tunataka mikopo ambayo iko kwa urahisi ili tuweze kuwekesha. Kisha tukishawekesha tukazalisha, tunataka pia soko ili tuzalishe, tuuze, tulipe mkopo na tupate faida yetu. Sasa tunasema mkulima awe mfanyibiashara ya kilimo. Tukiangazia hayo haswa katika hii kilimo ambayo tunaangazia kwa leo, basi tutakuwa na wakulima wengi sana ambao watakuwa wanaweza kutumia hii mbinu ya agroecology ambayo tunasema ni kilimo hai kwa njia nyingine. Tukiangalia vile hali inaendelea, tunazidi kupoteza mashamba yetu. Try and diversify. Tutoke kwenye ukulima wa mahindi tuweze kukuza pia aina nyingine ya mimea. Kama lazima tukuze mimea ya mbegu ama cereals, pia tujaribu yale ambayo yako na mbegu ndogo ndogo, finger millet, sorghum, manake anaweza kustahimili hali ya hewa, ili tuweze kuwa na chakula kila siku. Na pia tumeambiwa kwamba yana aina tofauti ya madini ambayo yanajenga mwili. So we diversify, so that we diversify our diet, and then tukatengeneza agroecology strategy for agri-food system transformation. Kama wizara tukishirikiana na wenzetu pamoja na PELAM, tukiongozwa na ISFA, hii platform ambayo tuko nayo, na tumeweza kuitilia mikazo sana. Hata ukija kwa kilimo, saizi tunasema kwamba mbolea si mbolea, lakini mbolea ni ile mbolea ambaye inaongeza rotuba. Kwa hivyo tunasema usiongeze mbolea kwa mchanga bila kufanya utafiti ujue kwamba ni madini gani haiko katika shamba lako. Na pia ukiongeza mbolea ya kisasa, tumia pia ile mbolea yetu ya kizamani, manake organic, kwa sababu pia inatengeneza shamba letu, ili shamba iweze mbili ya kwenda kutekeleza. Sio ukitoka hapa unaenda tena washa nyingine. Katika wizara tunasema kwamba tumekuwa na washa za kutosha, sasa ni wakati wa kufanya nini? Wa kufanya kazi. Tulime zaidi, tupate chakula nyingi. Tukiangalia hali ya hewa katika msimu uliopita ilikuwa ya kutuchanga. Ukienda hiyo sehemu, kwa mfano na hakika ukienda hiyo sehemu Kwa mfano na hakika mumeona katika runinga zenu mbinu ambazo zinaweza kutunza shamba zetu ili ziweze kutuzalishia kila siku. Usizalishe leo ukasahau, kesho pia utahitaji kuzalisha mazao ama kukuza mimea ambayo yataweza kulisha mimea wanyama wako, uzidi kupata chakula kingi. Nishaongea na wakulima, sasa nataka kusoma ambayo nimepewa hapa, imeandikwa kwa lugha ya Kizungu. Kwa niaba ya Waziri wa Kilimo, Mheshimiwa Mutahi Kagwe, with over 500 delegates and more than 100 exhibits, common vision of transforming Kenya's agri-food system into a modern competitive, climate resilient and inclusive sector that diversity and the environment. This decision reflects Kenya's commitment to safer, more sustainable agroecological production and reinforces our transformation towards farming systems that protect both people and ecosystem. This symposium is also globally significant as it coincides with the International Year of the Women Farmer and the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. It provides an opportunity to recognize the vital contribution of women farmers, pastoralists, and indigenous community people whose innovations and entrepreneurial spirit are shaping the future of agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, to guide implementation of Kenya's agroecology agenda. Finally, I sincerely thank Pelham Kenya once again, the Symposium Planning Committee, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development staff who are here, and those who participated in the planning and hosting of this symposium, development partners and all stakeholders whose dedication has made this event possible. I encourage all partners, all participants to use this symposium to build partnerships, exchange ideas, and identify practical solutions that will accelerate transformation of Kenya's agri-food systems. The government remains fully committed to supporting sustainable, inclusive, and climate-resilient agriculture that delivers prosperity for our farmers and food security for all Kenyans. It's now my honor and privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to officially declare Third National Agroecology Symposium 2026 officially open.
Asante sana to our Agriculture Secretary, on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. Naomba ubaki nasi, and I call on Bwana John Kariuki, the Board Vice Chairperson, just to say a thank you to the Ministry in representation. So Bwana Peter utabaki nami hapa, eka tu hapo kwa podium. You'll just receive a gift, taji tu la kusema asante. Sasa sijui kama itabaki nawe ama utampa CS Kagwe. Hii ni ya picha, lakini utabaki nayo ama utampa. Engineer Lagat pia njoo upokee pia.
So good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon again. So my name is John Kariuki, serving as the Vice Chair of Pelham Kenya Board, and I'm also the team leader at Slow Food Kenya. So we would like to appreciate the fantastic speakers in this symposium. So allow me to start from Porticus. And last but not least,
you may have your seats. You can give us a thumbs up to those who are behind the camera. If you're content with the picture, thumbs up. Asante. Makofi kwa wakienda kuketi tafadhali. Asanteni sana. And now, ladies and gentlemen, just before we get into lunch, we'd like to digest a bit bit more of what has been mentioned even in these remarks in terms of what we need to implement. So it's not just about the policies that we have on paper, but what we meet on the ground and who we meet on the ground, the communities, and where the conversation actually starts, not in such sessions, sorry about that, but more so in the community and at the ground level with you, the stakeholders on the ground. Makofi kwake. Engineer amesema in charge of Agricultural Land Resource Management, Unit Chairperson for National Technical Committee on Agroecology, Unit Chairperson for National Technical Committee on Agroecology, who's going to give us the government of Laikipia. Please join us on stage as well. Elijah Bogwa, Director, Agriculture, County Government of Laikipia. Please join us on stage. Agriculture, County Government of Laikipia. Please join us on stage. John Gashara, the CECM.
We hope before even the end of the period, we can be able to meet all of them, because this is what we need to transform our food system in Kenya and make sure that our farmers are happy, because a happy farmer is a happy nation. The National Technical Committee on Agroecology, in short NTCA, is established under the strategy to help in the technical coordination of the strategy, to make sure that the strategy is implementable, and the coordination generally is happening. So one of the tasks the stakeholders did under ISFA is to put the NTCA, that is the committee, in place to make the baby steps to the implementation. So the National Technical Committee was established, and the committee through its organs has taken the lead in the implementation. We've had 3 technical meetings where we look at what needs to be done, and currently we are spearheading the county's sensitization. NTCA engages with partners to sensitize counties, and so far we've done 17. We hope to do the others by the end of the day. National government officials and top management of agroecology space are in the pipeline in sensitization and bringing them on board. NTCA is working towards operationalizing the agroecology summit. That is on one of the pages on the agroecology. That is the structure for implementing the agroecology structure. You can see at the top there is agroecology summit, where the PSs of the relevant departments and ministries will be the one sitting, and below there we have the agroecology strategy, and below that in the middle is the national technical published. We could not give the copy, but now it is official, it is published, and it is ready. So the guide provides counties with a framework on adopting and implementing the NAS, or the strategy, and its objectives. The objective now of the guidelines is to contextualize agroecology within the local realities, to strengthen resilience and promote inclusivity. By following the guide, the counties can now translate the national strategy into practical, unique contexts and resources. Those are the 5 pathways in one visual way, and the counties, together with the stakeholders at that level, choose the one that works best for them. Some counties are ahead of others, but we hope by the end of the year, by the time we go to the next cycle of planning, we'll have agroecology in the space that it is. We'll have agroecology in the space that it is deserving. So, just some considerations. When selecting the pathway, the county should consider policies and legal alignment with existing county instruments. Each county has its own development agendas, and it is good to consider whatever is at that level. They need to assess the extent of agroecology practices already in place and incorporate the best practices as part of moving forward. Time availability also is something to consider. How much time do you need to allocate? Food does not wait for tomorrow. The stomach is always waiting. And good health is paramount. So the resource capacity of the county and the stakeholders, and also the support that is available. So these are the considerations that each county forum needs to look at. The considerations ensure that the chosen pathway is realistic and effective. Counties should begin with the stakeholder mapping. This just my thoughts. Mapping the people working in the agroecology space and sensitizing to build trust and collaboration. We should not have a forum at any one region that is not innovative extension and advisory services are the backbone of agroecology implementation. Counties should leverage digital platforms, demos, farmer groups. Demos, I mean learning labs, they are called living labs, as well as community networks to deliver knowledge. The knowledge within our societies should be in a platform that can be used by all to make sure that it is helping this space. Knowledge management must blend with the traditional, indigenous, and scientific knowledge together to ensure solutions are locally relevant and applicable. Learning hubs, farmer field schools are just examples. Exchange visits can be used to further strengthen innovation and adoption of agroecology in the food systems. Advocacy is key to building inclusive coalitions that champion advocacy, financing, and ML. Monitoring, evaluation, and learning will oil and drive sustainable transformation in our food systems. My call to action, I'm the chair of the National Technical Committee, and we are organizing these activities with very little budget activities. We also plan to sensitize all the
around governance and accountability, because we want to we are rolling out the agroecology strategy, and we need to know how prepared the counties are to actually support the rollout. So my first question goes to the county government of Laikipia, Elijah Mbugua, who is the director. Karibu sana Elijah.
Policy, because as you are aware, Laikipia, we are much known because of our pastoralists, and you have seen them, they were here. We have conservancies, we have our land tenure system is communal. 40% of our land ownership platform, we started with one partner, Pelham. Pelham supported us, and after that, we have got about now 12 partners who have joined us. The BIBA Kenya, we have Biovision Africa, so
Hata watu wa agroecology, they'll need to go for lunch. So I'm sorry I'll rush you guys through the session. So I think you've heard all roads lead to Laikipia. Which date? That is August. Siku gani? The launch of the strategy.
I've said we are launching on the week of 10 to 15th August, and we are going to communicate the actual date and the place. We are consulting with our leadership, the governor, so that we can have the actual date. But you are most welcome. Thank you.
Asante sana, sisi tutakuja on Sunday, alafu tungoje wiki yote utatupea siku gani, si ndio? Okay, thank you so much. I want to go to now Kirinyaga. Dr. John Gashara, who is the CEC for Agriculture. Our question is that with limited budgets, What funding models do you think can guarantee scaling of agroecology, especially to ensure that we really address the needs of smallholder farmers and youths in your county?
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. And I want once again to appreciate everybody in the room, and particularly the key organizer of this PELAM, for giving us this opportunity to have a conversation. I want to start, before I go straight to your question, I want to start by saying agroecology is a journey that to some counties like Kirinyaga, developing, started to get support. So as we are asking ourselves, how do we support this? We need to reorganize our farmers into structures that are recognized by various funding modalities that we have within the county. Having done that, a bell was rung, and I want to call them bell ringers. We have some bell ringers here. We don't call them whistleblowers. We call them bell ringers. A bell was rung by our one, and along that conversation, we realized that this is what we are calling adoption of agroecology. For Kirinyaga, we have adopted the strategy model, where we are having a strategy on agroecology now on progress. Why this? Why strategy? Strategy will attract public resources easily, because we can be easily converted into various programs. We are developing more or less a menu that various partners who have come together, about more than 20 or so, who have come together to support us on this. So funding of agroecology cannot be done by public sector alone. You must put agroecology into perspective of available resources find within the Department of Agriculture and other supportive departments like water, environment, and health. Look at what programs do they have. If you go to health, we have a nutrition program. What can we pick from there and support these initiatives? If we go to water, what are we having in irrigation that can be able to support this program? If we go to environment, we have programs like FLOCA. How do we tap into that?
Japheth Muli, who is the chief officer.
Muli.
Thank you.
Yes.
I thought his name belongs to someone else also, yeah.
Yeah, hot. One thing which was worked for us was we had about 8 vibrant partners. Makueni is known for vibrant public participation. Makueni is known for vibrant public participation, which works. We consulted widely with the public, with private partners, and everybody. Then, of course, the executive and their inputs. Then the county assembly did their part. We rode on a very nice, good political will. We took a record of 1 year to come up with the policy because every stage, every level of consultation, we end a smooth ride, courtesy of the good leadership of Makueni County and everybody appreciating the need for the agroecology policy. So I can say we end a smooth ride while going through it. Notwithstanding we had challenges. It was during the time there were changes in the US when the new government came into place, and their policies also changed by sharing some support for the agriculture. And some of the partners who were very keen in supporting us to develop the policy, who were very much willing, drew along the way because of the sharing of the funding. So those were some of the issues that we were able to face. Just to mention, we were able to come and develop the policy. As we are doing the implementation, our policy speaks to financing. It is well spelled 2% of our agriculture budget, 2% goes to support activities which are related to agroecology. So on a different note, because our development is default, we usually have development based on ward. Ours is like a ward fund. So as communities decide what to do with their money, because we give them that platform to make a choice, we guide them technically to ensure that they bring activities that speaks to agroecology. And I can assure you, during this our current budgeting, the 2026-2027 budget, some of our activities in agriculture speaks to this agroecology. Regional platforms that we have been organizing, they have been a scale out to our awareness to agroecology. Just to speak about our just concluded agricultural show on the 25 in Makueni, which ended last week. The many partners whom I've met here, we are able to showcase whatever is being showcased the outside to our farmers in Makueni, and our farmers learned a lot in appreciation to the same. So option, the only choice, the only savior to you is option, the only choice, the only savior to you is just to have as many partners as possible. And I'm very sure from this, we can network and you can get such partners. There were lessons also drawn from this policy. I have to mention with an additional 1 minute. And this shows political goodwill. So if our leaders, there were 7 governors in every county, and I know all of them, they are for the good will of the people. But to accelerate the process, to ensure this process picks up, we need to have them have it in their heart so that they can be able to create an enabling environment for the process to go in a short way. Midway finances might be limited, so it calls for a lot of sacrifice also. Then the next thing is
and you really outline a critical aspects on financing that we need to ring fence agroecology financing. They've given it 2% of the county, is it county agriculture budget or the county budget? I think I'll find that better. But also the political will. Watu agroecology, we are a movement, sindio? Na pia tuko na kura. So I want to say to asking you the question on how we can practically move the NAS FST from plan to action at county level would be a bit like it's already done and they've already spoken about it. But as Betty Kibara said that we need to have 2 eyes, one looking back and one in front. So my next question should allow us as agroecology actors to look in front. And what comes in is that the role of multi-stakeholder platforms on how we have moved to bring the different sectors together. And the question is, how can we actually align trade and finance policies to actually support the rollout of agroecology? Because it's necessary that we have finance, but markets are also becoming critical. So looking ahead, how can we align those policies? Over to you, Martin.
Trade and climate issues in an integrated manner rather than as separate domains. And I think this for me is why we need to do is to align trade policy with agroecology. And this, for example, involves ensuring that we have market incentives. For example, ensuring that there is certification for agroecological products, there is traceability to ensure markets for agroecological organic products. We also need to look at and review some of the trade and non-trade or tariff, non-tariff barriers. These are some of we are known for many things. But I think this is an opportunity where we can run away with agroecology. If we take agroecology and become the leader at regional levels, global levels, I think this would be very important because then we...
National Kama Minister, because I think that's where we need you now. So, I want to call upon a person who is very passionate about agroecology, Honorable Leonard Bor, who is the CEC Agriculture Nakuru County. And I know we are standing or sitting in between people and lunch, but this passion of agroecology in Nakuru has to be spoken. But let's hear from Bor. Where exactly is coordination and policy coherence failing? And what change would you make to fix it? Because Nakuru County has had very good interactions around multi-stakeholder platforms, but we all know that things can fail. So where do we see coherence required? How can we ensure this happens? Over to you, Kibor.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. We also appreciate that we are today here at the third National Agroecology Symposium, and we really appreciate because this is an opportunity for us to share, learn, pick some lessons in the issues of agroecology. So before I answer the question, first as Nakuru County, is to say that we've, because we are a county that is largely addressing issue of food security, actually one of the counties that we call a food basket, we needed to see how we are talking about the issue of sustainable agriculture. And one of the things that we needed to do is first to align the way we do our production, the way we do our farming. And that led us now to the issue of agroecology. So as I speak, as a county, we already have agroecology policy in place, which we did launch last year. And currently we are at the implementation stages. In fact, in a few weeks to come, actually on 7th of August, we will be launching the implementation framework. To your question, everything relies on how we coordinate. It's not for lack of policy, because now for Nakuru County, we already have a policy in place. But how do we make sure that we move it from just a written document to now assisting lift the issue of food systems for our county or for our country. So thing that can make it fail is actually the disjointed coordination. And disjointed coordination is in this sense, because the issue of food security or the issue of food system is not only aligned to agriculture. We have other related departments. And I think the way counties are organized in terms of departments, we have other key departments that are real enablers to make sure that we succeed. And that is why I appreciate today's theme of One Health. Because it's need that multi-sectoral approach to make sure that we succeed. You did ask a question on the issue of trade. You've asked a question on finance, because there's a budgetary element that goes into how we implement. So where I sit is about the non-coordinated approaches toward this, because you see all these departments, we already have a multi-stakeholder platform that is geared towards addressing, that is geared towards bringing everyone so that we can share, we can always implement joint programs together that can be able to see our policy benefiting the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leonard Bor. A round of applause, Leonard Bor. A round of applause to all my panelists, and to our dear listeners, mujipe makofi before you clap for me.
And let's step into the light. Yes, that is good. And give them a hand, tafadhali, as I give instruction for the next session, which is lunch. Tupige makofi tafadhali, tunaenda kula lunch sasa. And then we will all be back here. Engineer Alice.
The best in my life. Oh, the best, the very best. The best in my life. What is God bringing out? God is bringing out the best in my life. Over your life.
Area, please, so we can get lunch in good time. Ensure you get a meal voucher that you will be handed as you get into the CC Center for past the
best in my life. Oh, the best, the very best. The best in my life. What is God bringing out? God is bringing out the best in my life. Over your life, over your family. God is bringing out all the constants in my life.
Mundati.
On my own lakini siwezi na kutegemea, usiniache kama ikiwa bado napumua, jina lako ndilo nipate, tena sitaki kitu cha kunikataza kuwa chombo chako. Sauti yako ikaniita, vingine vyote mimi
Hii ni ya LinkedIn.
Come, Monica.
Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I believe that you've had a good time over when you were catching up for lunch or when we went for lunch. Now, I kindly request all of us to be upstanding. We just want to engage you a bit. Then we will be back. Now, turn to your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, Ulishiba. Ask your neighbor, are you full? No, I need you to help me talk to your neighbor. Ask your neighbor, are you full? No, you need to talk to your neighbor. Ask your neighbor, are you full? If you don't have a partner, make sure you are seated or you have a partner there. Ask your neighbor again, are you full? Umeshiba? Uko sawa? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, tell your neighbor, tafadhali naomba tusimame. Yes, ninaomba kwa heshima tafadhali tuweze kusimama so that we can start our engagement services segment, then we go straight to the point. Naomba tafadhali kwa heshima tuweze kusimama. Tusimame tafadhali, let's stand tafadhali. Tusimame tafadhali. Amazing. Thank you so much. Naomba tafadhali kule bado umekaa chini, naomba kwa heshima tuweze kusimama. Thank you. Now I'm going to just do something simple. Selector, give me the chicken dance kidogo. Now I'll like us, naomba kwa heshima tuweke mikono hivi juu, If I do this, thank you. Mikono zote mbili juu because I'm holding one mic, so mikono zote mbili juu. If you are next to a person who doesn't understand Swahili, juu nitatumia Swahili, kindly translate, or you can just watch me what I'm doing. You copy and paste. Now put your hands like this, everybody, and then you put here. This is called the Ingoho dance, all right? And then you go kidogo because unaona hapa kidogo. Now these are famous Kenyan old school dance. Now let's do it one more time. And then here Ingoho, and then you go here. Very good. You're a good student. One more last time. One time. And then here. And then here. Very good. Now we're going to do it with some kind of music. And then after this session, after the chicken dance, we are going to, for those who are visitors for the first time, if you're coming to Kenya, we have 47 tribes. Now we're going to try as much as possible to squeeze it in 5 minutes just to take you a bit of some of the cultures here, how they dance, how they celebrate life. Is that okay? And then now we will do it our way. DJ, are you ready? Now if you just put your hands in the air like this. Nice. So just follow me, all right? One more time, everybody. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Yeah, now sikumaliza kuwafunza. After hapa, you make sure you high five your neighbor 2 times. 1, 2, 3. 3 times. Are we okay? Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you hightail your neighbor 3 times. Very good students. Now let's try with some music. Let's go, DJ Selector. One more time now, you put your hands in the air. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Make sure you have a neighbor. Ensure that you have a neighbor. You have a neighbor? Now you do it, ambia jirani unafanya haraka. You do it faster. You do it faster. Tell your neighbor, do it faster. Yes, I know some of you mmekuwa kitambo mkidance na warudisha wale ambao wanaenda gym. These are free gym session just for only 5 minutes. Let's go, DJ Selector. One more time. Let's go. One more time, haraka. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, let's go. I take your name, let's go. One more time. And then you follow this simple message. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Now, I want to take you on a journey, just 5 minutes. Tell your neighbor we are going on a journey. I need you to talk to your neighbor. Tell your neighbor we are going on a journey. Now tell your neighbor, give me some space. If you are not from Kenya, this is how we do it the Kenyan way. Are you ready? Are you ready? Now, I need you to catch your guitar. Shika guitar. Kutranslate na kizungu ni. Shika guitar yako tafadhali. I know we have people from the Cumberland, we have people from the Luoland, we have people from the Marland, we have people from the coastal region. We are going there now. Shika guitar yako na uende chini. Oh, the mountain, the mlima. Nisiguze mlima, si ndio? Ayashika gitaa yako nisaidie ku translate now. For those who don't understand Swahili, can you forgive me, but we'll just do it, just copy what I do, all right? Now shika gitaa yako na uende chini. Tuende kazi selector tukae because we don't have time. Shika gitaa yako. You shake your shoulders. One more time. Put your hands like this. Yeah, put your hands like this, and then inama chini kidogo kama walui. Thank you, thank you. Weka, alafu you shake your shoulders, okay? Tukimalizia, tuende kazi selector. You shake and then unazunguka. This is how you go your place. Tuendelee ama tusiendelee? Hiyo lunch mulishiba? We are doing it well, si ndio? Now I just want to do 2 and then tuende tukae chini, si ndio? Mutaniruhusu nimeambiwa the Ma and then people from the Luoland, okay? Okay, so I don't know where do we start, selector? We start from the Ma. Do we start from the Ma? Or we start from the Luoland? Selector, cheza the Ma. Yeah. Yes. And feel free to come up, Ambele. Feel free. Amazing. Even time, yeah. Kujeni. Kuja. Yes. They look amazing. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing. Pigeni makofi tafadhali, ladies and gentlemen. Kidogo aruke on stage. Amefika. Pigeni makofi tafadhali. Yes, selector. Just remain from the people from the Lu. I want to teach you on a dance, Mark Masai. I'm here to learn. This one is the last one, then you go and sit down. Now, Selector Atukai Sana. You know, people from that region, ladies and gentlemen, nisaidie kutranslate. Wanapenda kukaa na starehe. How do you say that in English?
So people from that region,
yes.
It's Europe, by the way. We're talking about Europe.
Yeah.
They're very classy.
Yeah.
They love their comfort.
Kabisa.
They know the finer things in life.
Yes. They're the ones who are clapping there. Clap for them, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. You have to stay like people who, you have to look like people who come from that part,
Europe.
Yeah, from that part of Europe. Now tell your neighbor, give me some free space. We are going to do some Baba dance. Yes, we are going to do some. Selector Twende Kazi, we don't have much time, then go to the next session. Are you ready? Yeah. I didn't Thank you. DJ ataki tuende session ingine back. He doesn't want us to go to another session.
Hebu tuumpe makofi tafadhali.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Kipla. Thank you, Legacy Sound, for capping it all up in terms of lunch with that really good exercise session. Kipla, I need your number. I need to do that every 30 minutes. These are the doctor's orders, actually. I need 150 minutes of exercise every week. And that, my friend, has earned me my day's workout for this. So, for the next session, he'll be back just before we get into the breakout sessions. I'd like to call on the next participants for the Strengthening Pastoral and ASAL Systems Through Agroecology. It will be preceded by a keynote presentation by Dr. Clement Lenachuru, lead environmental and climate change, pastoralist livelihoods and indigenous knowledge. That's the gentleman who's been leading us here with the dance. Please give him a hand. Yes, Daktari, Dr. Clement Lenachuru. He'll be giving us the session here, the keynote. And as he does that, I'll call in the interest of time, the facilitator for this session, Joseph Lentunyoy, Executive Director, Laikipia Permaculture Training Center, to just be on standby here on stage, alongside those who were to join in this conversation, or at least in representation of those who had been envisioned. So Mr. Hosea Kindagor, Merti Integrated Development Program, or the representation of the same, Mr. Abdikadir Sonkolo, Kenya Livestock Marketing Council, or representation of the same, Mr. Zachary Makanya, Chief Executive Officer, Rural Initiatives Development Program, or representation of the same, Ms. Monica Yator, Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative, or her representative, Professor Salome R.A. Bukachi from the University of Nairobi, or her representation, to be on standby on stage as we start with the keynote by Dr. Clement Lenachuru on sustainable rangelands for resilient food systems, a One Health perspective. Let's give a hand to them as they begin.
Good afternoon. That was a very befitting exercise just before we delve into this other lot of English. I'd wish you had climaxed the dance with the masses so that I'm left on the stage. You know, I like being escorted, so that should have been the last one. Then it would have flown seamlessly to the next session. Okay, riding on established protocol. I'd wish to bring you the greetings after lunch. I hope you had lunch, and we ran a risk of talking to myself because a lot of many people, the energy will be moving out the stomach, so the head will be left no blood, so people will be sleeping. But because of the short period that I've been given, pastoralist stories are not read. They are told around the fireplace. These are knowledge we transmit from the elderly to the young. These are the knowledge we share when we are dancing. This is the knowledge we share while herding. This is the knowledge that we share when doing restocking. You know, when you go and take your neighbor's cows, you don't steal, we restock, so that the depleted ones are brought back at home. And so, when I was given this particular topic, okay, I will have a few slides just for the sake of records and for you to read. But as an introduction, to us, our life is about our indigenous knowledge. We live our knowledge. Please don't move to that stage first. Enter to page 1. I'll move that. Enter to Apple. Enter 10. Apple. Watch up back Apple. So, what as pastors we do, what we practice is what we live. When we want to tap into our knowledge, we will tell it over and over, and we pick it, it becomes part of our system. So when you talk of agroecology, when you talk of pastoralism, we talk of range management, you talk of all those issues, it's what we live. And the pastors sitting in front here are living examples. If I give you an example at personal level, I actually don't remember the last time I went to hospital. And I am a believer on the traditional herbal medicine, which was taught to me, and now I'm handing off to my children. As much as they speak English, because hardly they can speak the Ma language. By the way, I come from the El Chamus. El Chamus are a sub-tribe of the Ma, but we are the original Ma. The El Chamus are the original Ma. Anybody want to challenge that? Go and read it. And we live in Baringo. Of late, we have been displaced by the rising waters of Lake Baringo. And that's when now the agroecology, even agroecology, become more relevant to us. I cannot drink a milk from a factory. Those processed milk, lazima miti ichomwe, iingizwe, ndio ikuwe na harufu mzuri. Lakini ile ya pakiti, itanichemsha roho na nisikia ku throw up. So, that's why we live. We store our seeds in a traditional way. We harvest a traditional crops, we store our seeds just above the fireplace. And you can store so many of them, as much as enough for about an acre. So I don't exaggerate. We consume a lot of meat. Really lot of meat. Roasted, boiled, sometimes raw. We eat liver raw, we eat kidneys raw. Yak? No. Very nice, salty, with all the iron. But have you ever experienced any Maasai who has a gout? Have you seen any Maasai with a gout? Wapi madaktari waniambia wa Maasai wangapi wako na gout? Ama lifestyle disease, ama these are lifestyle diseases. It's simply because we consume our meat with a lot of traditional medicine. We boil with medicine, we take the soup medicine, and we are ever fresh and we walk long distances. Hence, we are digesting our food in the way that we live and move about. I heard of agroecology policies being developed by the counties, but I've never heard of pastoralist, nomadism, or something policy about that, apart from the 1999 or before ASAL policy. And the ASAL policy was about addressing the physical environment. It was not much about the livelihood of these people. So if you could move the same pace, and naona daktari bado yuko hapa, hivi ulikuwa county wa Laikipia, if I'm not wrong, yeah? Kirinyaga, wale maofisa wa serikali wenye wanakimbia na magari kubwa kubwa, wangekuwa hapa, ningeuliza, bado mko? Bado mko eh? Kuna mmoja hapa alisimama kwa niaba ya waziri. Nilikuwa nataka tukue na, huyu alikuwa na masikio yamekaa hivi. That's how we describe people ourselves. Sisi, najua indigenous people, tuna describe vile unatembea, na vile nywele imekaa. So masikio yake alikuwa yamekaa hivi. So kwa nataka nijue, huyu ako wapi? So if you could move that space and also have a policy, and I'll be ready to champion the development of that policy. If you challenge me, I'll lead that team with 4 or 5 thematic areas, and you can come with a very good policy that be able to guide the pastoralists the next level. We have heard a lot of posts in this country, but we keep on moving us from livestock today, so kesho tunapelekwa hapa, next time tunapelekwa hapa, because we have never had that vision on how to transit these people or how to support their system so they can be able to face the challenges we have now of climate change, population pressure, land degradation, and other issues of nature that are affecting the pastoralist. So having done that introduction, I want us to look at what I presented there. The second slide, please. And because all of you have gone to school, when you are invited to this meeting, there were some instructions. When students fail exam, it's simply because they don't follow instructions. You told in section B, answer 3 questions out of 5. You answer all of them. So I'll mark the first 3, and probably your best question was number 5. So you'll fail. You were told when you're coming to this conference, this symposium, come address in traditional attire. All of you failed that exam. So you never read the instructions. You got the invitation, you only read your name, you forgot the other instructions. Yeah? True or false? True. So we have, when you talk of rangelands, when you talk of assets, you talk of pastoralism, you talk of agroecology, we have some stereotypes. People think rangelands, pastoralism, are outdated wastelands and outdated livelihoods. People think them as non-productive. When you talk of pastoralism, you think this is an archaic livelihood. You always talk of transforming our livelihoods. But since when God created man and Eve, the first person to... Yeah, because we're the first people, what were nyama? So they were pastoring us. So they were coming with the pastoralists, hiding our livestock, and then they started hiding us as people. And that's what they call pastorals, schools, or pastors. If you want to challenge me, please, my hammer. And we are the most progressive livelihood. That's why we have existed since that time up to now, using the scarce resources towards its abundant resources. Why we see failure is because of some of the policies that are interfering with our original systems, how we use our resources. The same way, agroecology is not a new thing. Probably the term might be new. But people think agroecology is just about crops. So there's that misconception. They also talk, oh, agroecology may not be compatible with livestock. Very much they're compatible. And so therefore, as a conclusion for that paragraph, pastoralism has potential in the advent of climate change. That's what we can be sure about for sustained supply of meat. All of you lunch hour, there was full of meat. Everybody has taken meat. Not every person has taken chicken. Not everybody has taken vegetable, but almost everybody has taken meat. In our household, in our fridges, you always talk of nyama. Na hiyo nyama imetoka wapi? It's not manufactured in the labs. It's not manufactured anywhere. It's from our livestock, from the pastoralist. And that's why we want to take a center stage. But as active participants, not on the sideshow. Next slide, please. And because you're able to read these slides, I will not read everything because of the time. But rangelands constitute about 65 and above landmass in Kenya. The value of pastoralist products has actually been undervalued in this country. And it's a gift, according in our GDP, it's contributed about 30% of Kenya's GDP, with about 13 million people directly benefiting from the livestock sector. And you can see the number of the percent of cattle in this country that's in arid lands, actually kept by the pastoralists. In this whole, pastoralists constitute less than 1%. Hope next year, at least to Africa 10-15%. And shall bring our richness, our resources, and you see the difference you're going to bring. Next slide, please. Healthy rangelands will build resilience to climate change. When you talk of well-managed rangelands, in Baringo, and sorry, because I would have put 2 slides in my presentation on the work we are doing in Baringo towards restoration. Areas that were completely months, but we reseeded using Cenchrus ciliaris, foxtail grass, and doing marvelous work. And farmers now, or pastoralists, small-scale pastoralists, are now putting aside about 1 or 2 acres specifically to grow that grass for purposes of feeding livestock, since most of the growing areas are now under the waters of Lake Baringo. And if our rangelands are maintained, they're improved, the people living there will also have good health, and we are sure of food security. And climate change, we can easily address. There was a joke made some 2 years ago that livestock contribute a lot to climate change. Nikasema shindwe. Our livestock are all over with their small methane. How much are we producing on our factories compared to the natural system where when animals are fed in a feedlot, and let me not talk much because there's somebody of animal science and it might take me, and it's a professor. Yeah, he's a professor. So nisiongee sana. So you tuache for leo. But livestock do not in any way contribute to anything to do with the adverse, with the fast-tracked change of climate. They produce their methane, and methane is not as bad as carbon, which human beings are producing. Next slide, please. I teach in the university, and I read one line, the student read the other lines. So I'm doing the same. I read one line for you, you read the rest. That's why you're seated and being attentive, listening to me. Kwani wasomea yote? So ulienda shule? Asanteni. So, and I know Masai might come over any minute, so I don't want to take time. So indigenous knowledge is key to sustainable rangeland management. We design our own grazing patterns. We design our own grazing systems. Areas to reserve, areas to graze, areas to allow regeneration, areas where not to touch, which vegetation to graze on, which vegetation not to touch, where to get our medicinal plants. And so, as pastoralist people, agroecology is inculcated in our livelihood, in our lifestyle, in our knowledge. And I'm a researcher on indigenous knowledge. In fact, by the end of this month, of next month, I would have published a paper again on indigenous knowledge and climate change. So I'm comparing, contrasting our ways of predicting weather and decisions we make and conventional science, how they move together. Next slide. So it's about sustainable grazing enhances ecosystem health. Next slide, please. Women and youth play an important role. I want to challenge youth. There's no position reserved for you in the high table. You must work for it. So you cannot be plucked from down there and placed here. You work hard the stairs. And when you say youth and women, because also we want to hold them so that they move. So kurukisha stairs, no, but they must be able to earn it, because the future belongs to the young people, and all of us one time we were young, but now we are headed, I don't know where. Next slide. Some secure. So if our rangelands are not secured, if they are not registered lands, it means no man's land. So we need to secure this land for it to have better investment and better production. Next slide. Sustainable rangelands support biodiversity and climate goals. I don't need to emphasize, I've already said that. Next slide, please. Policy and investment plan. Without guiding policies and investment priorities, how will government allocate resources? How do you take care of those people, those populations, if there are no guiding policies? We must be able to have policies to guide us. Next, please. The key message is a resilient food systems begin with a healthy rangelands. By investing in sustainable rangeland management and recognizing the indigenous knowledge and empowering pastoral communities, we can secure food, livelihood, biodiversity, climate resilience for the future generations. Last slide. Challenges facing the pastoralism and what's all about. We are talking about strengthening agroecological practices with their mind climate change and attendant impacts, both negative and positive. So we must be able to look into those impacts of climate change and see how agroecology can be able to come in our rescue. Next slide, please. Facing the challenges. What option do you have? Restoration, introduction of fodder, not introduction of maize in Garissa. It's fodder. Not growing beans in Mandera, like a fodder for livestock to eat. We panda mimea, and then we exchange. Exchange is no robbery. I bring the meat, you bring me the cereals. Secure land rights and the value use of indigenous knowledge is very important. I think the last one, our opportunities abound. Agroecology practices ensure a healthy environment, sustainable use of natural resources, better livestock, enhanced food security, healthier rural communities, and healthier lands and environment. So if we cannot take care of our land, if we continue to abuse it and use some of the factory fertilizers that we know about, they degrade our land. We also need to properly manage and control population that are using. It's actually because of the influx of population that has made pastoral to congest, they have sedentarized and depleting the available resources. But initially, when they were moving all over, roving all over, resources were efficiently used. The last one. Thank you.
Asante sana to Dr. Clement Lenachuru. As you hand over the mic to Bwana Joseph Lentunyoy, who's going to lead the session, we will try as much as we can to fit this in 30 minutes or so, but it is over to him, and we'll see how he can also include your views before we get into the breakout session. Joseph, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mark. All protocol observed. Good afternoon. This session will be looking at strengthening pastoral and ASAL systems through agroecology and the discussion will be around harnessing agroecology for resilient rangelands and pastoral communities. Before we hear them, I would like to say that some of them I have interacted with them in the field, and they have done very good work. And one of the things that I would ask the delegates, visitors coming, is to go to the exhibition and visit the stands where they come from. Midpi, Bwana, they have a stand there with a Borana woman selling gums and resins and honey. The University of Nairobi, I'm not very sure whether they have a stand, but at the far end, Monica there has a very nice stand. And also Bwana Zachary, it's a very good stand there selling seeds and some food stuff. So it's good that you can go and see what they do, because as the guest of honor said this morning, there's a lot of boardroom meetings these days, but practically to the farmers and to the farms, not much. So I think we need to see how we can do that. And therefore, without taking much time, I would like to invite Mr. Hosea Kandagor from MIDP, Merti Integrated Development Program, from Isiolo, because we know that the county governments are playing a central role in pastoral development and climate adaptation. Therefore, we want to hear from him, drawing from Isiolo County experience, what policies, investment, and institutional measures have been put in place to integrate agroecology, rangelands on pastoral management, and even for agro-pastoralism livelihoods, and perhaps what should counties prioritize to scale their approaches more effectively. Welcome, Bwana Hosea.
Thank you so much, Joseph, and good afternoon. When Alice was presenting and he ended with the word thank you, I was looking forward to a pastoralist language of thank you, and he ended with Ashioleng. So I would like to add another one from Borana, Galatoma. So maybe Alice will add to that list and all of us. My name is Hosea Kandagor. I work with the Merti Integrated Development Program, MIDP, a member of PELAM. And we've been in this space for the last 26 years, working purely with the pastoralists and more so the arid and semi-arid northern Kenya. When we look at the counties, I'll not spend so much time discussing the policies. I really appreciate what our country coordinator yesterday urged us to do. We move away from policy conversation to policy action. We need to now roll our sleeves and implement these policies. Our earlier panelists said we need policies are as good as the implementation. Isiolo County typically gives us a background where we have arid landscapes. And in these landscapes, most of us, when we visit those areas, we find them very ash. Recently, last week, I was in Marti, and I met a person from Kisii, who was very, very sweating and really finding it hard to stay. And he was telling me, I want to finish my work and go back. This is not a place to stay. But those landscapes have inhabitants, people who have been living in those landscapes, and they don't know any other place. And it's very difficult when we read that these are wastelands, these are empty lands. You'll remember in the recent past, when government projects, they pass through our rangelands and they say there was no one, and we invest heavily, ignoring that people were there. And in this area, you'll find that our lands are still communal, and they are not registered. Currently, county governments are owning them in trust for the communities. So some of the policies which we are looking at in Isiolo, working closely with partners and county government, is how do we support our communities to register their land. So implementation of Community Land Act of 2016 is ongoing. I'm very happy that our neighboring counties are much ahead Isiolo is a typically community land. We didn't have trust land. So it's also another complex issue. But happy to report that we are there. We are about to register almost 4 community lands based on the wards. In Isiolo also, we were the first people, the first counties to roll out One Health strategy in 2023. We launched it in end of 2024. And I'm very happy in this conversation today, agroecology, we are looking at One Health and embedding how they relate to our pastoralism. Other strategies that are in place already, when you look at the water strategy and the livestock strategy, I zero down to those because those are the basic strategies as pastoralist and speaking to pastoralism in relation to agroecology. Yesterday I was joking with my friends that as Pelham, the word P, we need to have it as pastoralist, participatory. So it's a double P, then Pelham. Because when you look at pastoralism, it embodies that land use plan from the way we manage our water, the way we manage our pasture, the way we manage our lands. And it's central to the people. I really liked what Dr. Mbecha said in the morning, that farmers should be at the center of our conversation. And here we are seeing that agroecology places farmers and pastoralists at the center. And in Isiolo, it's one of the counties that believes in co-creation. Most of those strategies, they were created in collaboration with partners, and a lot of partnership is in place. And you'll realize that even the implementation led by the partners and the communities. One model which I really want to leave with you is, as much as we are talking agroecology, we need money to flow to the communities. We need to shift how we are financing our programs. Locally led solutions are the way to go. And we find agroecology in that space. If at all we want to realize policy implementation, policy dreams, and strategies, it needs to go with the money and needs to go to the communities. And at this point, we are very happy to appreciate what we are doing in Isiolo in partnership with the government of Netherlands and the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, where we are rolling out Reversing the Flow program, where we give money directly to communities to roll out all these aspirations in strategies. I'd like to invite all of you to follow this conversation. Just look at Reversing the Flow program, and we'll be able to share more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Hosea. I think what I took is that they have a project that says Reversing the Flow, giving the money to the community to implement projects on their landscape. And therefore, we also have to see how moving from policy conversation to action. I think those are takeaways from me, which is very, very good, as I said before. And now I want to invite Mr. Abdikadir Sonkolo from Kenya Livestock Marketing Council. We know that they are playing a critical role in marketing livestock products, value chains, and you know that a lot of pastoralist income comes from livestock. And therefore, maybe you can tell us more about how you are supporting that in terms of market income for the pastoralist, and perhaps maybe how you want to bring resilience as they do pastoralism. Welcome.
Thank you for that question. Good afternoon. I'm Abdikadir Mohamed Sonkolo, working for Kenya Livestock Marketing Council, which is a farmers organization that has been operating in 16 ASAL counties for the last 26 years. So our organization supports livestock marketing. We look at issues of market infrastructure, making sure that the pastoralists have marketplace where to operate from. These are, for example, sale yards. Government have constructed a number of sale yards at county levels. So we've also come in to develop a governance system at those sale yards to make sure that there is sustainability of those infrastructures, making sure that there are community participations in the management of those sale yards, and also making sure that there are rules and regulations that are developed to fast track, the businesses, involvement of, women, young people at those markets. Prior, our markets are not properly organized. Women participation is low. So we came up with a model where rules and regulation are developed at those markets, that middlemen, or middle people, are not in control. So these are the things that we undertake. We also try to develop structures along trade corridors, because this supports trade during dry period, drought time. Those infrastructures, for example, holding grounds, water points, supports in animal welfare. Animals don't really walk long distance without water and all that. We make sure that this happens. We look at issues of livestock market information, providing livestock market information, to producers. Currently, the situation is that the traders and the middlemen are the people who have information, but the normal pastoralists don't really know the prices of animals. Sometimes markets are flooded, so they don't know which market pays well. So we provide this information so that they are able to bargain. They're able to really look at what type of animal is required by the market. So we provide this kind of information. We've also supported digital livestock traceability system. We piloted in about 6 counties. And this is very important. And now the government has also picked it up. We need to be able to track our animals, to be able to track the products of our animals. We need to look at qualities of our animals. So currently we are doing exports, but we can expand, to more countries if we are able to do livestock identification across all the counties in Kenya. We are also looking at issues of organizing pastoral institution. So we are forming cooperative, farmer groups, producer groups, so that they can be able to aggregate their animals. And that is the best way to go, because that will help them to be able to bargain, have a bargaining power, be able to negotiate on contract. Our livestock trade system is very informal currently. We need to be able to make it formal. And we can only be able to do that if we can be able to negotiate and have contracts. abattoirs, slaughterhouses are suffering because they don't get enough supply. And this is because there's no proper organized system from the producer level. The other thing is about producers getting good prices, getting the best out of it. Currently, the prices of livestock is very high, but how much is a producer getting and how much is those guys who are in between the terminal markets and the producers getting? So we are looking at that, organizing them to be able to get good prices and avoid exploitation from the brokers. Issue of value addition, we are also looking into that, looking at how can camel milk be improved, how can we improve our hides and skin, how can sorry for that. So how do we improve the prices? So good quality animals, we need fodder. So we support fodder production so that our people can be able to improve the quality, the body conditions of their animals. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdikadir. I think you are very thorough. You gave us what you are doing and the challenges. And I will see that you say it's a very informal sector and women participation is very low. So women in the room, especially pastoralists, I know that you are championing always to have access to land. But if you don't have access to where the income comes, then it becomes a challenge. So we go to Mr. Sakari Makanya, Chief Executive Officer for REDEP, Rural Initiative Development. And we are going to discuss One Health approach that recognizes interconnectedness on the ecosystem. And we want to ask you, how will the counties and the CSOs work together to ensure that this happens?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Hey, are you sleeping? Good afternoon. My name is Sakari Makanya. I was recognized in the morning as the former country coordinator. I'm the one who handed up the stick to Rosina, and I want to announce here publicly that I'm very, very impressed by what that young lady and the staff have done. So please clap for them because I'm here. Good. Now, the question that I'm handling today is about One Health. And I know when people talk about health, people is about people. In fact, there are people who promote what you call people-centered development. You know, when you promote people-centered development, it rotates around the human being. Maybe it's economic empowerment, money, how can they make money? If a man makes money out of charcoal, people are happy because it's about people-centered development. So one of the things I want to say, because the question is what are some of the solutions, I would say stop promoting people-centered development. When you promote ecosystem-centered development. Because when you do this, you are handling all the things in the universe. You are talking about the soil. You are talking about human being. You are talking about plant health. You are talking about animal health. You are talking about soil health. You know, they say soil is a living organism. So if you take care of it, then you will find that you are promoting ecosystem-centered development. Now, even as you handle these forms of health, like human health, plant health, animal health, soil health, and environmental health, you also need to make use of indigenous knowledge. I think it has been emphasized here that people in the past don't go only to books so that you can see what are the solutions for human health. Because our people everywhere, even when you go to America, to Europe, people who are there, they used to handle this thing very well. So it's also going to consider the indigenous knowledge. Now, the other thing is also to promote intergenerational learning. Intergenerational learning is where young will bring the elders and the young people so that they can learn from each other. For example, at REDEP, we have a very interesting program where we take young people from primary school, accompanied by their teachers. They go in the forest, live there for 2-3 days in the forest. And maybe they can say, today we are going to explore, to look at wild fruits. That's the fruits in the forest. So they go around, and it's a very interesting because our children, maybe they have stopped learning this. They can even start looking for wild vegetables. They can start looking for herbs, medicinal herbs for people. It is very, very important that you start bringing this thing back. The other solution is that we know that there are very many silos. People are working in their own silos. They are working on their own. They are not working together. And I say one of the solutions is to break down the silos, open the doors for others so that you can work together. I'm happy that in this meeting, there has been a lot of emphasis on networking and a lot of emphasis on consortium making, partners working together. Like me, I normally say I'm like a fish in water. If I am not in networking, I will not survive. For me, I like networking, and that's why I'm saying that you join so that you can be able to work together. Now, the other thing is to integrate the many committees. There are many committees in Kenya operating, even in parliament. You are this committee, even at the county assembly level. But they are working in the silos. They are not being integrated. So one solution is also to integrate those committees. Now, the other solution, promote sustainable land management. How do we do this? We do this by promoting eco-friendly agriculture. We also need to do this by promoting regenerative practices like land, livestock management. I don't know how many of you have done this process where our eroded land can be recovered by promoting land and livestock management. You divide the land into paddocks, then the animals can stay in one place for about maybe 3 months, like that. By the time you go back to the first paddock, the whole thing has been recovered. Now, the other thing is, we also need to promote water holding on our farms and the landscapes. Do you know, when it rains and you look at our rivers, you should cry because in those rivers, we have tons of soils which are being eroded from our farms. So we have a demonstration farm at REDEP where all the water in that farm, it does not go anywhere. It just sinks into the farm. It sinks into the farm. Therefore, we don't lose any soil to any river because we are holding water. So for me, I want to encourage everybody, even the farmers, that we need to continue promoting water holding on farms. Now, the other solution is data sharing. There's a lot of data around. Data sharing may be the solution, but analyzing that data is very important. I have seen people who are making very good presentations here, and they're also making very good analysis. But when you do that, can you involve others so that people can also learn from the analysis, and more importantly, come up with the solutions. The action points. Including giving enough funding so that those actions can be implemented. I'm about to finish. The other one is continuous doing joint impact assessment. Don't only do assessment for your program. Can you invite others? Even at TSO levels, can you be able to work together by doing what you call joint impact assessment? The policies also should be inclusive, should also be integrated. Dr. Beto talked about tying to each other, tied to each other. That is, we are tied. You know, when you are tied, it means then we can work together. We may be slow, but I think we shall be making very, very good progress. By what I'm saying is that value networking. You also to value networking. I think for me, Rosinas and the team, they have increased the level of networking in this network. For me, I'm very, very excited because when I was there, we need to have forums like this, but this is a very good forum where we are learning. For me, even if I'm not seated here, I'm out there learning a lot of things. So we need to promote networking. We need to promote people working together, including what you call learning, promoting learning and exposure visits. Going to this, even members of PELAM, visiting each other, members of Pelham, visiting other partners like that, I'm sure they can learn a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bonasakare. I will want to say that we have to keep time. Therefore, if I give you a chance, you utilize your time. Professor Salome Bukachi from the University of Nairobi, we know that research has increasingly shows that pastoralism can support biodiversity out of the research done before, carbon storage, and many other environmental good aspects. But out of evidence that you have done in the university or on your own research, what can support rangelands and in terms of agroecology, and perhaps what gaps are there that does not allow us to do research or even utilize the research that has been done before. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here and just to learn from such a wealth of experience of knowledge, both within the room and even outside in the exhibitions. My name is Salome Bukachi. I'm a professor of anthropology in the Institute of Anthropology, Gender and African Studies. I also work in the One Health space, and one of the things I've noted is that the livestock element it seems a bit weak when we are working within the agroecological space. So even if we ask ourselves how many of us are livestock experts or livestock farmers in this room right now, I think it will be very few of us. I went to the exhibitions also, and there wasn't much on livestock. So just going back to what my previous speaker has talked about, that aspect of bringing everything together and working at it from a systems perspective is important. But just to pick out a few elements in terms of the evidence that has existed, research that has been done that proves that the pastoral system is actually a viable system. There's research that has been done, and so I would like to support Dr. Clement. All what he was saying, research has been able to prove. One of them is that community-based rangeland management and customary institutions have been able to lead towards regenerative rangelands over millions of hectares. There's evidence that proves that. So that just goes to show that pastoral systems are actually useful. The other thing is the seasonal grazing patterns that the local communities have. That has also been talked about. Their grazing patterns. But key, I want to bring out the aspect of the indigenous knowledge. And that is something very critical towards, even as we're looking at the agroecological principles, that is something that we need to strengthen and harness. And within the pastoral systems, there's a lot of that if not documented, if not harnessed and really packaged well, we are losing that information, which would be useful to us scaling up towards improving on agroecological aspects. Maybe the final thing I would like to talk about the gaps is in relation to equity. Bringing about equity and inclusivity, incorporating the girls, incorporating the women within the systems that we are working in. We know that even when we look at the SDGs, gender and equity are very important and key principles within the SDGs. And within the agropastoral, within the pastoral systems, that's also something that we need to bring on board and strengthen, because this is able to help bring about the inclusive participation and also to improve in the aspects of co-design of indicators that can be used to monitor how the agropastoral systems, the rangelands, are doing. As I wind up, maybe within the planning, it would be important for us to look for innovative ways of also just showcasing what the pastoral systems are doing, because within the space, the exhibition space, maybe they can't bring their cows, they can't bring their land, but how do we showcase the good work that they're doing? Could we do some documentaries that can be played out to show the good work that is happening even within those systems? The other thing is we have so many farmers who have come, who have brought their products. I would have loved to see that we are eating products from the farmers. And we are talking about, this is actually the agroecological aspects we are talking about. So I think when we look at the gaps, it's about the practicality of implementing the things that we are talking about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. That's very good. We need to eat the food from the farmers. That's a key thing to me, and it's very good. Monica Yator, Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative. We know that you support women and youth, but the challenge and barrier is always access to land, finance, and markets. What are the actions that we will need to put in place to ensure that this does not happen in the future?
Thank you very much. And I want to speak as a woman and an agro-pastoralist woman. Our challenge is water, not even land, because I've worked with over 2,000 farmers in Baringo County. And if you speak to these farmers, they will tell you, I don't have water, how will I farm? Yet we have a lot of water harvesting techniques in agroecology. Putting up small pan dams, buying dam liners, they are very cheap. How can we support this? When we go to the youth will tell you there's no water. Yet we have a flooded Lake Baringo. Where is that water going? Why don't we start harvesting water from upstream? Yes, the policies are not speaking for us because every day is a disaster. What are we doing to stop the disasters? By making sure that we have water, all the upstreams, and make sure that our youths are able to produce food. In our dry lands, we have so many opportunities. Apart from crop farming, what else can pastoralists do? I have a product here. What is this called? Acacia honey. How much is the price of a kg? Across Europe, it's about $5. In Kenya, is how much? 1,000. And we are saying we don't have money. Youths do not have money in their pockets. We don't want to speak about crop farming only. We need to diversify. And in the agroecology principles, we have diversification. And one of it is having alternative to crop farming. I want to challenge our government here. Now we have a national agroecology strategy. What is the space for youths? There is a space because we have now CBC. Don't we have agriculture as a social cause in CBC? I am a parent of grade 10 and I like the curriculum. And my daughter is now embracing farming, now doing apiculture at grade 10, poultry farming at grade 10, knowing how to make vermicompost, BAF. How do we make sure that we sexualize agroecology, make them earn money? They don't want to see that, but how do we change their mindsets? Number two, we are parents here. We are mothers, we are fathers, we are relatives. How many of you can support a youth to put up an agroecology demo farm by the show of hands? Put it up. Can you be confident of this movement? Yes. Why don't we support our youths? Why don't we support our women? Where are the men, the husbands in the house? How many of you have same titles or share titles with your wives? How many of you support agroecology enterprises in your own household? By the show of hands, please. Let's commit to this movement together. Let's commit. Men in the house, women in the house. Can we commit to the movement? I want to speak confidently that we are supporting agroecology scaling up in Baringo. We have been supported by Agroecology Fund. We have been supported by SGP UNDP project. We have been supported by International Women Forum. We want to challenge gender-based violence by supporting women, address SDGs, which are causing GBV in their community. If a woman cannot feed the house, what is another problem? What are the root causes of GBV in a community? If a woman can walk for 10 kilometers to and fro, is that woman, how do I put that? The energy that that lady is using to walk in a scorching sun, only to buy a cabbage of 50 bob. Is that fair to women? Unpaid labor to women? Is that fair to us? Kindly, let's support women in farming. Number two, why do we have to ask for title deeds to access loan? I want to talk to private sector. If you ask me, let a title, Nasina, how will I get funding to support my agriculture? Even to add a number of cattle in my house, poultry in my house, goats in my house, How do we negotiate with the private sector so that we bring the voices of women, we bring the voices of youth? And the last one, we need to intentionally advocate for women, land rights, and youth. I was born in this family. I didn't write a letter to be born as a girl, especially among the pastors community. We are not given land. Why? Why are we still praising these cultural norms and beliefs that lazima uolewe, you must get married, and if you get married, you get land there? Do we have 100% that we will go get married and get land? If you go there, if you don't even get a son, you will go back, or they will even chase you. So how do we challenge these gender norms and cultural norms? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Monica and the panelists, and for a very good presentation. Thank you.
Asante sana to Joseph Lentonyoy, who I will ask alongside his panelists to step up front and get a picture for this. I'm sure those behind the camera will appreciate this as I just give us direction for the next session. The time is really far spent, but given the passionate submission that Monica has just given and the rest of the panelists, we had to give it time. And it actually was exactly 1 hour, as it was envisioned in the program. So next, we're going to the breakout sessions, which will be accommodated in 5 different rooms, one of them being here, the auditorium. If you look at the agenda that you have, what was envisioned as room B9 is not going to happen, which was meant to be en route to Food and Pelham, Kenya. That has not been accommodated now with the development that we have this afternoon. But here, room, auditorium, we will have the conversation that is sponsored by Groots and Hivos, how grassroots women are leading Kenya's agroecology transformation. That will be here. Then we have in 3 rooms that are accommodated on that block, and you will see the signage very clear, but we have someone on standby right now that will